This presentation is about symmetry and asymmetry in design. First, symmetry. Symmetry exists in our life. It is a sense of harmony, beauty, and balance. There is symmetry in nature, in science, in architecture, in art, and in music. Do you remember in elementary school, we were taught to identify symmetrical objects? When something is symmetrical, it has the same on both sides. We learn to find the line of symmetry in objects and images. For centuries, symmetry remains a subject of fascination to philosophers, astronomers, mathematicians, artists, architects, and scientists. Symmetry has long been recognized as a vital quality of nature. Einstein saw symmetry hidden in the fabric of space and time. We observe symmetry in nature, like the zebra. Zebra stripes are a perfect example of bilateral symmetry. Each zebra stripes are unique. They are like our fingerprints. No two zebra stripes are exactly alike. A starfish represents a radial symmetry, where the symmetry starts around a fixed point, like the center. The pattern rotates and repeats in 360 degrees. Starfish has 5 sections, so the pattern rotates 5 times of 72 degrees each to form the complete pattern. We observe symmetry in science. Silicon is a chemical element, a nonmetal with semiconducting properties used in making electronic circuits. A few hundred of these silicon atoms can form a not quite crystalline particle that could be the more useful light source. Symmetry in architecture is implied by its auxiliary and centrality in the form of the building, not just exterior, but the interior. This example of the Oculus Station House in New York City shows an intimate connection between symmetry and architecture. We see symmetry in dance forms. Symmetry is explored and expressed through the movement of their body. A symmetric sequence is one in which movements to the right are mirrored by movements to the left and vice versa. What is asymmetry? By contrast, an asymmetrical dance position is different on the right and the left sides of the body. It suggests mobility and potential loss of balance. The actions are unstable, lopsided, and unbalanced. The famous Hallex Hotel in Abu Dhabi is a great example of asymmetrical architecture. The absence of symmetry gives the structure its dramatic facades. The uneven distribution of the weight implies movement and draws our attention. This West African fiddler crab is a beautiful example of asymmetry. The one shown here is a male fiddler crab. It has one claw much larger than the other, which they use for communication. Again, the asymmetrical body gives the West African fiddler crab its exotic look. What is symmetry and asymmetry in design? It is about balance or the lack of balance. The relation of elements to each other forms rhythm and movement. When you look at these circles, the distribution of these circles guides the viewer's eye around. Symmetry in design refers to the arrangement of the elements on a page that are equal to each other on both sides. In this poster, visual balance is achieved when equal weight or size are distributed on both sides of composition along the central axis. Here is another great example of symmetrical design by Robert Wakeman. You can see from the page spread shown here, the left and right mirroring each other, creating a perfect symmetry. When executed well, visual expression is powerful and dynamic. Asymmetry in design is when the two sides are not identical. As you can see here, they're different from one another. The lack of balance or equality between the two halves appears wrong, but when it is well executed, it creates balance and harmony. This iconic advertisement, designed by Helmut Krone in 1959, demonstrated a brilliant use of asymmetry. The bold and daring approach was groundbreaking at that time. The asymmetrical placement of the Volkswagens grabs viewers' attention and is thought-provoking. Symmetry and asymmetry can coexist. Elements on the page can be arranged to achieve balance and contrast by the use of symmetry and asymmetry. When everything works together and it fits as a whole, the result is dynamic and interesting. Physicist and writer Alan Lightman said, "If everything is perfectly symmetrical, and this includes a work of art, we find it boring. On the other hand, if everything is random with no symmetry at all, we're confused. We want to navigate between boredom and confusion." The page spread you saw earlier works because the page architecture was based on a symmetrical grid, that the randomness of the elements on the page was developed from the orderliness of the underlying structure. Visual balance and aesthetics can be achieved either with symmetry or asymmetry. So know your context before you approach further. Symmetrical layouts require simplicity to be effective. Asymmetrical design can appear more alive and dynamic. Thank you for watching.